and welcome back to the Little Scale Cars YouTube channel. Today in the review box we have the Matchbox Jaguar D-Type. This one is done in the 70th anniversary kind of deco scheme, but it is a brand new casting. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at it and see if it is worth adding to your collection. So let's go ahead and get started with our casting. So first off, our proportions are pretty good. It should be noted that there are a couple different versions of the Jaguar D-Type, and this one, it doesn't really say what it is other than 1954. So I did manage to find one that looks pretty close to this though, so I would say our proportions are pretty good. Go ahead and put that real life car, or at least what I believe is the real life car, up in the top right corner there. And while we're taking a look here, I think one thing we need to note right off the bat is that these axles are way too short. You can see that real life car, those wheels come right out to the edge of the fender here, and they don't come anywhere close on the Matchbox. So that is massively disappointing and does not look right at all. That being said though, for the casting itself, we do have a metal base. So we've got the metal chassis, the metal base, the interior bit is plastic, and obviously this window bit is plastic, but it does give it a nice hefty feel. And the casting itself proportionally looks pretty good. We've got our two little indentations here. We've got the intake there. Going down here, we do get these kind of etched in. All your body lines that you would expect to see are there. Everything does look pretty good. And obviously the big shark fin there is part of the main body as well, and it just looks pretty nice. For our paint and deco, so we do get these 70th anniversary kind of special edition colors. It's kind of this matte silver, matte gray color, and it has just this really rough texturing to it. So it's not a realistic paint job, but again, you're kind of buying this one for that livery in general. So we do get our 70th anniversary logo there. We do get a Jaguar logo here, some Matchbox logoing there, and then 70 is just all over the place. So it does look good. It does give a race car-esque color scheme and deco, but it is not a real-life deco that this car would have used in real life. So I would say you're buying this one for the 70th anniversary deco as a whole, and not so much because it's an accurate representation of a Jaguar D-Type. Moving into our details, we do have headlights. However, they are just painted on. They're tampos. And since the paint is kind of matte, the headlights are kind of matte as well. And it just doesn't look amazing. Yeah, I'm not really sure how they could have avoided that without, giving us non-matte kind of paint. It is what it is, though. Over here, we do get a little license plate, which is interesting because I think this is supposed to depict the racing version of the car, and not the street version, but whatever. Moving on to the back, we do get taillights and another license plate. And as far as the details goes, that's pretty much all we have from what we haven't covered, because there's really just not a lot of extra things on here that weren't part of the casting. But it is an old car. It's pretty simple, and we do get what should be there, so that's nice to see. Moving into our roll test, it does roll, and it rolls very smoothly. This is a collector series, so it does have the rubber wheels. I did put it on the scale, and it is 41.32 grams, so it is pretty heavy. That metal on metal really helps with that. Moving into our pros and cons. So for our pros, this is the first release of this casting. So that is, if you really want this casting like me, this is your first opportunity to get it. The other big pro, I would say, is that the 70th anniversary packaging, if you're someone who keeps your stuff on card, that's going to make this very collectible. Personally, I open everything, but I still feel like even if you open stuff, this 70th anniversary edition is going to be a collectible thing. So that's a big pro as well. Moving into our cons, though, I will say there is one massive con, and that is these axles. I did talk about that earlier. They are way too short. These wheels need to come out a lot farther, and they need to at least sit flush with the wheels there, or with the fenders there, but they not even close, and it looks bad. It looks really bad. So that's something that needs to be worked out for future releases, I think. You can see it just looks cartoonish. if I hold up by the shark fin there, it just looks cartoonish and it looks weird and it does not look good and does not look accurate. So that's something I would fix at Matchbox. For some quick size comparisons, here we have it with some other Jaguars you might have in your collection, with the Hot Wheels Jaguar D-Type, a different version of the D-Type, and the Hot Wheels Jaguar E-Type Lightweight. And here we have it with some other classic cars that you might have, with the Hot Wheels Corvette SR2 and the Hot Wheels Mercedes 300 SL. Alright, so it is now time to give my overall final thoughts. So I'm going to go ahead and give this one an 8 out of 10, because I was really genuinely excited for this. I do have the older Hot Wheels version, as you saw in the comparisons there. But that is a slightly different version of the D-Type. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, there's several different versions of the D-Type. The Hot Wheels one is slightly different. This is a different version, and it's a newer casting by like 20 years. It's like 20 years newer, at least 20 years newer. So I really thought Matchbox would kind of go over the top, and it just kind of left me disappointed. The deco itself is not that great, but it is kind of the anniversary special, so it is what it is. If you don't like the deco, just wait for the next version. I'm sure better decos are coming. But the real thing that needs addressed is that those axles are terrible. Like, that should never have been greenlit. That's horrendous. But other than that, other than the axles, it is pretty good, and it still looks nice from a distance, especially. So I would say it's still overall worth grabbing if you're a fan of the Jaguar D-Type or just want the collectible factor of the 70th anniversary edition. Other than that, I would say go ahead and just wait for a future release, a more realistic paint deco, something like that, and see if maybe they address the axles issues on future releases. And that is all I have for this review, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit the like button down below, subscribe if you are new, and leave a comment telling me what your thoughts are on this particular model, and I will see you in the next video.